Hello, everybody. Today I have with me Brandon Nielson from the Dog Stop. Brandon has been in franchising for quite some time. He and I go back many, many years of helping people get into the right franchise. So, Brandon, why don't you give us a little bit of information about yourself and how you got started in franchising?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Um, yeah, I got my start in franchising back in 2000 and beginning of 2003. Um, I actually kind of had a leg in. My dad has been doing franchising for as long as I can remember. So for me, it was one of those things that I kind of grew up in the industry, so to speak, for the most part. And this is, for the most part, I had a little stint in selling real estate for a while, but besides that, this is all I've ever done. So I love franchising. I love franchise development, and I get to work with great guys like Greg. So it makes it all the more better for sure.
Thank you, Brandon. That's great. Well, what brought you over to the Dog Stop?
Well, actually, I first started working with the Dog Stop actually back in 2016. And I came on with them as kind of like a contractor, right? At the time, I owned my own franchise development company at the time, and really loved dogs, of course. And so for me, it was an exciting opportunity to be able to work with them. And I ended up bringing in their first 10 or so franchise owners into the business. And when they were just getting going on the franchise side of things, just getting ramped up. And then I actually had another opportunity that kind of came my way, that you know a lot about, of course, with Regis sell side. And then as soon as that was done, that opportunity was over. I immediately called the Dog Stop and said, "Hey, I'm done with this. I want to come back." And they said, "That's great. We would love to have you back, but we want you back as kind of a full-time guy, right? We only want you focused on us." And I said, "Okay, sounds great. Let's do it." So, and I've been back with the Dog Stop since beginning of April of last year now.
What is it about the Dog Stop that interests you so much? What do you like about it?
Well, it's one of those businesses where, in the world of franchising, there's obviously a number of franchises out there where you can build yourself a profitable business. You can do well financially out there, right? But the reality is there's not a lot of franchises where you can be truly passionate about what you do. And this is one of those. This is one of those franchises. And quite frankly, I've been involved in, I don't know, 6 or 7 different franchise industries over the last almost 20 years now. And this is the one franchise industry that I have seen people are by far the most passionate about. They love it. They absolutely love it. And it's not just the franchise owners that are passionate about it, of course, but it's all of their employees. Right. It's everybody that's involved in the business. They love it. I mean, we literally have general managers that work for some of our franchise owners that have taken pay cuts just to be able to come work for them because they can work with dogs and be around dogs and work with dogs every day. So it's one of those businesses that, yes, you can do extremely well financially, but it's also one of those businesses where it's very passionate business for people. They love it. It's not very often you can wake up in the morning and own a business and do something you love to do every day, right? And still do well financially. So that's this business for sure.
That is very true. With 6 dogs of my own, I'm definitely with you on that one. Yes, getting up in the morning to play with the critters, always a fun thing to do. So,
oh yeah, yep.
Why don't you give us a little bit of summary of the business? What's the business all about? What does the Dog Stop do?
Yeah. So we are really the only one true, what I'll call one-stop shop out there today in the franchise world. So we offer, essentially what we do is we offer all services under one roof for the dog owner. Okay. We do dog boarding, dog daycare, doggy daycare, grooming, training, and retail all under one roof. Okay. The way that those services kind of break out overall roughly is dog boarding is about 40% of our total revenue. Doggy daycare is about 30% of our total revenue. So those 2 services right there make up about 70% of our business. Okay. And then dog grooming, which continues to get bigger all the time, is about 15%. And then the last 15% make up our retail section and our dog training service as well. a lot of people, not a lot, but some, listen, we're not big on retail. We do have retail, but we're not big on it. But the way that these franchise owners have to look at it, or these people that are investigating have to look at it, is if you had a retail section and all that retail section did was make enough money to pay your monthly rent out of your location every month, it's worth it. It's worth having. It's a huge convenience for the customer, for the dog owner, for the customer. When they drop their dog off or pick their dog off or pick their dog up for daycare or boarding every day, and their dog food is sitting right there on the shelf, or their treats or toys, or whatever it might be, you might as well have it ready for them to go, right? So it's really a convenience for the customer, but it is a revenue stream for the franchise owner as well. So we are the only true one-stop shop in the franchise world.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I definitely don't want to go pick up my dog and think, oh, I got to get dog food. I got to go stop somewhere else now. Let me go get somewhere else and get that and drive around with the dog in the vehicle. Much easier to just grab everything right there where I'm at, and makes the dog happy, take them home right away and play with them. Good point.
Yeah. Yep.
What's the history of the Dog Stop? How did they get started, and why did they decide to go into franchising and start growing that way?
Yeah, we're based out of Pittsburg, Pennsylvania, and the founders of the company are two guys, two college friends actually, by the name of Jesse Koslov and Chris Kane. Jesse and Chris, the only time those guys have not lived in Pittsburgh is when they went to college. They were out in DC for college, and then when they got back, they went back out of college and went back to Pittsburgh. And of course, both Jesse and Chris have owned dogs their whole lives, love dogs, and but the two big reasons why they decided to start this business was, number one, they're really, and this was pre-2009. But there wasn't, in Pittsburgh, there wasn't any good options for dogs. I mean, if you wanted to get your dog boarded, you had to go to this place. If you wanted to get your dog groomed or trained, you had to go somewhere else. If you wanted to buy your dog food, you had to go somewhere else. So there wasn't a real kind of one-stop shop option at all. And not only that, for what was available, the customer service and the transparency in these locations it was horrible. It was just absolutely horrible. I mean, Jesse tells of experiences where he would walk into a boarding facility and say, hey, I'm thinking of boarding my dog here while I'm gone for a week. Would you mind taking me on a tour of your facility so I can, kind of see what it looks like? And he would literally have places tell him, no, we don't do tours here. Or they would say something like, well, we do tours, but you got to come back in a week, right? Almost like they had to prepare everything to be presentable before he came back. So there was a huge need. And so him and Chris got together and they started talking about it. They started talking to other, similar types of facilities in the area that were doing boarding and daycare and things like that. So they had a certain idea in mind of what to expect. So they ended up opening up their first location in downtown Pittsburgh. And after about a year of running that business, they looked back at what they had projected to have done, and they had essentially quadrupled what they thought they were going to do in the business. They were so busy, they could not keep up with the demand. In fact, they ended up opening up 2 more locations just to try to keep up with the demand. Now, after about 2 years of running that business, they started getting a bunch of their current customers that were coming at them and basically saying, hey, we love you guys. We love your locations. We love what you guys are doing. We would like to open up our own dog stop locations in our neck of the woods, right? Maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes down the road. Yeah. And so Jesse and Chris, they had to make a decision, do we continue to open up our own corporate locations, or do we franchise and allow other people to, to come in and be owners? And so ultimately, they decided to franchise the concept, and they officially franchised in 2014 is when they officially franchised. Now, Jesse is friends actually with one of the original founding members of Arby's. And before they really launched that franchise program, Jesse called him up and he said, hey, we're franchising. And this guy was very familiar with their business. He said, we're franchising. And this guy said, you should, because you have a great model and that industry is booming. He says, Jesse asked me, do you have any advice? He said, I do. He said, and it's probably not what you're going to want to hear. He said, the advice I'm going to give you is when you first start franchising, he said, I want you to grow as slow as you possibly can.
Interesting.
So he said the first year, bring in one franchise owner and work with that franchise owner for a full year. And then after that, bring in two more and work with those two for another full year. He said the single biggest mistake that every new franchise company makes is they grow too fast right out of the gate. And essentially what happens is they end up having to go back and fix or correct what they've done, right? Because eventually, if you grow too fast right out of the gate, you're not going to be able to train, you're not going to be able to support your franchisees the way that they need to be trained and supported in the business. And that's not what Jesse wanted, not what Chris wanted. They wanted to do it the right way. So they did exactly like this guy said. And, start in the beginning, very, very slow, very methodical. And we've kind of, for the most part, been that way up to this point. I would say 2022 from here and beyond is going to be where you're really going to start seeing the dog stop take off big time take off. We're working with tons of people, but how's it paid off for us, right? How is that growth strategy, that slow, methodical, do it the right way? We now have 21 locations open and operating.
Wow.
Every single location we have open and operating is making money and successful. Every single one.
Great. That is.
So there you go.
Yeah, definitely had the great idea and they've done it right. Makes everybody happy that way on that one. Well, what kind of locations are you looking for this, for the dog shop? You putting them inside of cities, or are they going to do the outskirts of town? Where do you put them?
Mainly cities. One of the big things that we do with our franchise owners, and I think another thing that really separates us from the others out there today, is the fact that when we look at real estate, we're not just looking at one type of real estate. We look at retail, we look at flex space, we look at light industrial space, we look at commercial/business space. We look at everything. We have now proven 20 some odd times now that you absolutely do not have to be in high-end retail space to be successful with our model. You do not. In fact, some of the most successful locations that we have are not in retail space at all. So at the end of the day, what people are looking for is they're looking for a convenient location, easy to get to, right? In a safe area,
right.
Something that's clean, sanitary, clean, right? But really the most important thing that people are looking for is they want to make sure that wherever they bring their dog or dogs, the people in that location are going to take care of and love their dog as much as they do. Okay. That is the key to our business. And that's how we train our franchisees. So because we leave it open to all types of real estate, not only are we able to find locations faster for our franchisees, but we save them literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on build out costs and things like that as well. When we find a location that we want to get into, one of the things that we do very well is we try to work with the existing layouts of those facilities as much as we possibly can. So we're not going in there and doing a complete demolition of the place and trying to make every single dog stop location look exactly the same. They're all different, and for that reason, because they're all laid out a little bit differently. Again, it means faster cash flow, break-even times in our business for our franchisees, and more money made quicker. So that's why we do it that way.
Excellent.
Our sweet spot, by the way, Greg, our sweet spot's about 7,000 square feet of space. We can go bigger than that. We can go smaller, but 7,000 is kind of the sweet spot that holds typically, I would say, around 100 kennels, give or take. We have a location in Chicago that is 10,000 square feet. I think they have 150 to 160 kennels, and they fill every one of them. So
that is great. Very good news. So how do they support them? It sounds like they took a good amount of time slowly getting into it so they can get their support systems in place to be just exactly right. So what are the support systems? What does the support system look like? You've already alluded to the fact that they're going to help you find a location and lease negotiation. What else would they be a franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we could probably touch on marketing and advertising and real estate and hiring, employee engagement and all that stuff. And we could probably have one of these calls on each one of those topics and talk all through that, right? There's a lot to be said there.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we train and assist our franchisees in literally every aspect of the business. There's not one aspect to this business that our franchise owners are doing on their own. Everything from finding the right piece of real estate to working with them on the negotiating process, right? So we have a real estate team that does all the negotiating on their behalf with the landlord, getting them the best deal. That same real estate team works through the construction project, everything, getting the plans ready, all that entire process. We help our franchisees hire the right people, the right full-time manager, assistant managers, trainer, groomer, all that stuff, part-time people, right? We help our franchisees and assist them in that entire process. We're with our franchisees for 5 days in Pittsburg, at a training in Pittsburg. So it's the franchise owner and their general manager that they've hired are going to be out in Pittsburgh for 5 days. We're going to be with them prior to the grand opening in their area, at their location, on grand opening and post grand opening for a week after they open up, just to make sure that everything's running smoothly and doing well. And then obviously at any point. So the training really never ends. It's an ongoing training process with our franchise owners. Obviously, like anything else, they're going to need more training in the beginning than they would 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road, where they pretty much have it down, right? But we're there all the time. There's never a time when we're not there for our franchise owners. We're always there to get them what they need.
Excellent. So speaking of the franchise owners, are there particular people that you're looking for that make good franchise owners? Any thoughts there on who should be looking into it, or what kind of people you're looking for as far as ideal franchise owners?
You know, it's interesting because if you take a look at the backgrounds of our franchisees, it's all over the place. There's not one particular profession or a background that is common, really, with all of our franchisees. I think the one thing that is common is if you look at what our most successful franchise owners do in the business, we don't want owner operators here, right? We don't want a franchise owner that wants to come in and essentially buy themselves the full-time job. We don't want franchise owners that are going to be managers. We want franchise owners that are going to be what we call semi-absentee owners that are going to be working on their business, but not in it every day. There's a big difference there. The most successful owners that we have are the ones that are getting involved in their local communities. They're the ones that are getting involved and getting to know all the different veterinarians in the area. They're the ones that are getting involved in the local dog shelters and adoption agencies. They're the ones that are literally taking their dog or their dogs to the dog park and passing out their business cards to all the other people there, right? That is what drives traffic, and that's what's going to create a booming business for people. So the reality is, if you're as a franchise owner, if you're in your facility every day, all day long as the general manager, it gives you zero time to do those things that actually drive more traffic and business into your facility.
Good point.
So that's key. That's what we're looking for. So as long as people like doing those things, networking, getting to know people, building relationships, that's the type of person we're looking for.
Okay, so that sounds like that describes a day in the life of a franchisee. They're going to be out there in their community, getting themselves known, liked, trusted, letting everybody know that they're there, but not being inside that building all day long, because that's not what you're looking for.
No, we'll help them hire a really good general manager. You'll have at least one full-time assistant manager as soon as you get going. Eventually you will need another full-time assistant manager because it's going to get so busy, but let those people do what they do, right? That's what they love to do. Let them run the day-to-day operations, and let you as the franchise owner focus in on the things that are really going to drive your business forward.
Perfect. So any issues during the COVID time? Any problems over the last 2 years?
So 2020, like for everybody, was not fun. You know, it wasn't. I think here's the positive with us during 2020. We didn't have to close down any of our locations, and the reason why is because we are considered an essential business because we sell dog food, right? And dogs have to eat. So for that reason, we never had to close down, which is great. We did lose boarding, you know, and things like that, which was because dog boarding is a big part of our business, about 40% of our business, but we did not have to close down, which meant we were able to continue to bring revenue into these locations. Now, I think the bigger story is what we saw in 2021, the rebound, right? In 2021, we set monthly record. So every single month from January to December in 2021, we set monthly sales records in our company every
Wow.
month. A new record was broken every month. No joke. We had 3 locations that did over $1 million in revenue last year. We had the biggest single year we've ever had in our history last year. 5 out of the last 7 locations that we've opened up went cash flow positive in less than 30 days after opening their doors.
Wow.
So we are seeing things right now in our business that, quite frankly, it's we cannot keep up with the demand. We can't. There's so much demand in this industry right now. And based on what happened during COVID, during 2020, and all the millions of new puppies that came into people's homes during that time, we're going to be slammed for at least the next 10 to 12 years. I mean, at least, if not more. So, you know, this ended, we opened up the first location in Pittsburgh in 2009. And this industry has increased in revenue year over year since we opened up. It has not stopped. We don't see anything. I mean, it's not like people are just going to stop spending money on their dogs, right? It's if anything, it's going to continue to increase every year.
That's true. We do love our pets, and we do treat them like our kids. So we're definitely going to take care of them. I know I do, and I definitely.
That's right.
I spend a lot on boarding when I'm going off on vacation, so I have no problem with that. Putting them in a good boarding spot.
Yep.
And yes, you're absolutely right. I went and searched them out when I did boarding as well. Made sure I took a tour, made certain that there were some happy, smiling faces in there that were loving our critters.
That's right.
Okay. Good. Well, any last
That's
words?
the key. That is the key.
There you go. Any last words?
No, I don't think so. I think you know, we're at the end of the day, we're looking to now grow this concept all over the country. We're at a point now with our business where we have everything ready to go. There's nothing holding us back at this point. All the systems are in place, all the technology that we need is in place. And we're just, at the end of the day, we're just looking for good people. We're just looking for good people. We want to have we have great relationships with our franchise owners, and we just want to continue to kind of keep that trend going and continue to grow the business. But I think 2022 is going to be a year for us that's going to be kind of a record-setting year in the sense of locations opened in 1 year. I think this year we'll probably end up opening another 15 to 20 locations this year, probably double our size this year. Easy.
Excellent. Well, definitely a feel-good business, one that you could have fun with, that you never mind stopping by and just, you know, playing with your clients' pets and having a good time. So anybody out there that's interested, don't hesitate to look up the Dog Stop. Just Google them or just give me a call and I'll introduce you to Brandon and the team.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Thank you too, Brandon. I appreciate your time, sir. Have a great day.